Hey, football fans, this is Gary Greene, longtime sports handicapper and professional sports bettor for the past 35 years here in Vegas with our week number 10, NFL Stock Down Team of the Week, and it's the Chicago Bears. And this was an easy choice for me this week. The Bears are really struggling right now, and the last couple of games, they have regressed tremendously. It hasn't been a great season anyway. They're 4-4, 0-4 on the road. But these last two games, the offense is just not able to do anything. The offensive line can't block. And what's the outcome? They lose both games to Washington and Arizona. They score one touchdown in 2 weeks, and that was on the final drive against Washington when they got 3 pass interference calls. 2 of them were high overthrows, so they got helped baked into that touchdown. Otherwise, they've done nothing. They can't get the ball in the end zone. They're just kicking field goals. I don't know if it's a London hangover or what. But it's a bad situation because it's going to get worse as the season finishes here in the second half. So we're just heading into the second half of the season. This is the exact midpoint when they play the New England Patriots on Sunday. Their big problem is the one part of their team that was really holding up on a week-to-week basis for the most part was the defense. It was holding up nicely, and they got slaughtered the last 2 weeks against the run. 213 rushing yards last week to Arizona and 168 rushing yards 2 weeks ago to Washington, and then add on to that, the offensive line all of a sudden can't block at all. It's been a disastrous season for Caleb Williams back there with the offensive line. He's been sacked 29 times in 8 weeks. 3.5 times per game is not going to win you and get you to the playoffs. Not going to win you game week after week. Williams got sacked 6 times last week, 3 the week before, 3 the week before that. So offensive line's not helping, and they have studs at the wide receiver position. They had one to start the year with DJ Moore, then they get traded for Keenan Allen, then they get a super stud from the University of Washington, Roma Dunze, in the early pick in the first round, and it looked like this team was going to be high flying with Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick, but it's been the total opposite. And when I see on tape each and every week, especially these last 2 weeks, I see no adjustments being made. I see the same vanilla offensive play calling, screens, bootlegs, and they're not working because the other teams know exactly what you're running. They're not able to get the ball down the field. Williams overthrows everybody. He rarely hits a guy even when they're open down the field, and they're covered. And the play calling has been atrocious, and that's on the head coach. This is the same thing that happened a lot last year. Then they had a little decent run at the end. They picked up a few players on defense. All of a sudden, it looked like they were playing better, so they saved his job, and they figured, hey, they're getting the first-round pick, number 1 pick in the first round, and Caleb Williams, but he's not been doing anything close to what Daniels is doing for Washington, and part of that is Washington's offensive line has been fantastic, maybe the most improved offensive line in the league from last year. So they don't make halftime adjustments. They're not making week-to-week adjustments. They're not able to score. On the road, they just seem like the crowd is getting to them, and a lot of scrambling going on by Caleb Williams, and he's not throwing the ball out of bounds. He's taking sacks and penalties. They're always in 2nd and 17, it seems, or 3rd and 17, and they're just impossible situations to win. You got to be able to pass protect it. You can't win in this league. And when we look at the defense of the Bears, at least they're living up to their end of the bargain. They're number 12 in the league, which isn't bad. They're only allowing 18.5 points per game. Last year, they were number 12. Same thing. They allowed 22 points a game. They have 7 interceptions. They have 8 fumble recoveries. They're knocking the ball loose. They're looking pretty good in the tackling department for the most part. But when we project a stock down team, we're projecting it going forward. And when we look at the schedule for the Bears for the rest of the season, after they host New England on Sunday, it's going to get really difficult. They're going to go to Green Bay, Minnesota, at Detroit. Then they're going to play a healthy, finally, San Francisco team, unless something changes, but they'll be getting back McCaffrey. Then they play at Minnesota, Detroit, Seattle, and at Green Bay. So they have a murderer's row the rest of the way, and with the offense sputtering like it is and an offensive line that's not playing good, some of these teams are going to create crazy havoc against Williams. I don't think he's going to really get a whole lot better for the rest of the year from what I've seen. He hasn't thus far, and he just doesn't. He's got the pieces to throw to, but the play calling's been bad, and I just think the head coach is in a lot of trouble. He's going to be fired by the end of the year. This team's not making the playoffs. A lot of people, this was the big choice in the offseason of everybody with the season over win total of the Bears. The Bears are going to the playoffs. They're not. They're not going to make it. They're not going to win these games at the end of the road here in the final 8 games. And God forbid they lose against New England at home on Sunday. It's going to get a lot worse. And heck, if they lose on Sunday, it might be time to fire their head coach now just to try to see if they can't salvage the season. But with that tough schedule going forward, I would be looking to bet against the Chicago Bears for the rest of the season unless something drastic changes here in the last next couple of weeks. So that's your stock down team of the week, the Chicago Bears. You've been listening to Gary Wynn's videos. And Gary Greene, if you have any questions and you want to email me, you can email me at GaryGreeneWins@gmail.com, and Greene has an E at the end. And may all your wagers be winning ones. Don't bet what you can't afford to lose. And check out all our videos the rest of the week. Have a great one.